Today to give a brief testimony on behalf of a lot of folks who live in Chattanooga. In 2012, Grove Street Settlement House and Chattanooga Organized for Action undertook a Chattanooga Truth Commission on Human Rights, which happened on December the 10th at the Public Library. And we had testimony from a lot of people representing a lot of backgrounds at that event, and I'm going to actually be sharing some of those testimonies here today. But some statistics I think that are important when it comes to healthcare in our community. And in our state, 850,000 people ages 19 to 64 did not receive needed medical care in Tennessee because of the cost. This is certainly changing with the Affordable Care Act, but in 2012 that was the number. Our local numbers, since 2004, Project Access has provided $37.5 million worth of free health care to uninsured residents of Hamilton County. Over 3,400 people received care since Project Access inception, and almost 3,000 more people who did not qualify for Project Access were referred to other community resources. In 2009, over 3,881 homeless residents received health care services through the Homeless Healthcare Project of Hamilton County, and between 500 and 600 individuals received basic health care, dental care, and social services at the 8th annual Project Homeless Connect in January of 2012. I'm going to now read two testimonies related to health care. I am a 61-year-old white female who has not been to the doctor in over 2 years because I have unpaid medical bills. When my husband died 2 years ago, things went downhill for me. I receive a small SSI check each month, but it does not cover daily basic needs, and I end up living from check to check. I feel like I will never catch up. I am diabetic and take medication, but I have not been able to buy my prescribed medication for the past 3 months. TennCare does not cover this medicine and I can't afford it. I would have to choose between buying food and buying medicine. I feel so much shame about my life. I wake up every day knowing it will be a struggle. I wonder if I did something wrong to end up here. There are so many days when I just sit and cry and don't leave my apartment. I have a car, but no car insurance because I can't afford it. I try not to drive much because if I got stopped or got in an accident with no insurance, I would have to pay fines, which I would not be able to do at this time. Testimony number 2. I am a 40-year-old white female who served 5 years in prison for a felony charge. I was released in February 2012, and after several low-wage jobs, was able to find a better-paying job in a factory. But the working conditions are unsafe and difficult. I am the only one who works in the family. I support my husband and a disabled teenage son. While I was in prison, I was denied yearly medical visits, and as a result, I now have serious medical problems. I have been able to obtain insurance through my new job, but the monthly cost is $532, which is a huge portion of my take-home pay. My basic human right to health care was denied by the prison, and now I need over $100,000 in medical care and procedures. Insurance will only pay a small portion of that. I'm now going to switch to talking about employment in our community. In 2010, a local study found that poverty rates were up and incomes and wages were flat. Adjusted for inflation, median earnings for Chattanoogans were down 8.1% from the level of 2006. A December 2011 local story focused on how Chattanooga's resident renaissance has continued to bypass the working poor, resulting in a new category of people, quote, the near poor, and increased use of social services by a wider group of the working poor. A recent lengthy Huffington Post article found that Chattanooga is a metropolitan area with an official labor force of about 262,000 people, but only 22.5% of working age residents have access to public transportation. The region's two newest employers, Volkswagen of North America and Amazon, are not on the public transportation routes, meaning no access to good paying jobs for individuals who rely on the bus. And I'm going to read two testimonies related to employment. I am a 31-year-old white female who has been unemployed and underemployed. I am currently unemployed and am having difficulty looking for work because most jobs are online, as are all the job applications, and I do not have access to a computer. I owe over $700 in back rent and could be evicted at any time, meaning my children and I would become homeless. I have worked at many jobs where the wages were not enough to pay for food, housing, and basic clothes. Minimum wage is not enough for a family to eat and live. Food and housing is so expensive, and affordable housing is hard to find, and especially in a safe neighborhood. At the most recent job I had, I quit. The boss openly sexually harassed me, and when I complained, nothing was done to him. I left that job because I could not take that kind of harassment on a daily basis, knowing that nothing would be done to make him stop. I worry every day how my kids and I will eat, and if there will be a knock on the door and the landlord standing there telling us to move out because we can't pay our rent. Testimony number 2. I am a 51-year-old white male who is currently homeless. I have been denied work because I do not have an ID or a social security card. I can't obtain either one of these documents because I don't have my birth certificate. Because I am homeless, I cannot dress nice, which means people look down on me. I became sick while working for a landscape company, and because I was not able to work for a week, I was laid off. I meet the criteria for disability, but I cannot apply for benefits because I do not have an address. I live in a tent off East 11th Street in downtown Chattanooga. When it comes to housing, I know that Perrin Lance is going to speak a little bit more on that, and I'm just going to kind of lead into that by reading 2 final testimonies related to challenges with finding affordable housing. I am a 21-year-old African-American female who has experienced discrimination in housing. The discrimination I experienced caused me great personal distress and anxiety. I lived in public housing in downtown Chattanooga and was evicted because I had withheld my rent due to the fact my apartment was infested with bed bugs. When I requested my apartment be sprayed for bed bugs, nothing was done by the management company, and my baby was severely bitten. I was forced to go to court over the unpaid rent and then had to pay my rent and court fees. I have now moved in with my mother because I am not eligible for any more public housing due to this experience. My child is the one who has suffered the most through this, and I feel responsible as her mother. I tried to do the right thing, but it turned out I was punished for it. I am a 33-year-old African-American male who was recently released from jail. After I did my time, I went to a halfway house at the Salvation Army and completed the program there. I wanted to find housing, a job, and other services to help me get on my feet. What I found out was because I had a felony on my record, it was very difficult to get any services. The only way I can survive is through the streets, so I live on the streets. The police know me, and I feel like they target me on a regular basis.